Welcome, ladies. Welcome to this month's devotional called Healing in the Waiting. It's featuring the story of the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible. And I've been going over her story lately and just allowing the different layers of it to come to life and trying to apply it to my life in my waiting season. And that's what this whole month has been about, is our waiting season and finding God in the midst of it. So a little backstory on the woman with the issue of blood. The Bible says that she had been suffering with this health issue for 12 years. That is a long time. Not only was she suffering with this, she had spent all her money going to different doctors, and not only did it not help her, it made her worse. Also, back then, women who were bleeding were considered unclean. And so other people could not touch the things that she had touched. They could not sit where she had sit, or laid where she had laid, or drink out of the same cup. So she was isolated. And on top of that, she wasn't allowed to be in the churches, the synagogues. So she wasn't allowed into like the public worship and here. So she was isolated and in pain, not just physically, but relationally. She was cut off, which added more to that whole isolation and pain in these 12 long years. So she had heard about Jesus, that he can heal. She needed healing. And so he was coming through her town. A lot of people heard that he was a healer and that he could heal them. And they were pressing in. So he's walking through her town and a bunch of people are pressing in on him, crowding around him. Now, remember, she wasn't allowed to be in the town around other people. So she probably tried to hide herself. I think it's safe to assume she probably tried to hide herself. And she was pressing in, and she told herself if she could just touch the hem of his garment, that she would be healed. Now, she did. She pressed in, and she just grabbed the hem of his garment, and she was immediately healed, and she knew she was healed. And then Jesus stops. A bunch of people are pressing on him and touching him, and no one was healed except her. She had faith. So Jesus stops the crowd and was like, "Who touched me?" And his disciples were like, "Dude, you got a bunch of people touching you. Why are you saying who touched me? Everybody's touching you." And he said, "No, power came out of me. I felt it." So I also want to stop there. So it wasn't that he didn't know. He allowed this healing power to flow through him and to her because of her amazing faith. And I believe that he stopped the crowd and was publicly recognizing this and her because of the years of isolation and pain and shunning that she had endured, that she had suffered. And so he calls out, "Who touched me?" And then she comes before him and she's face down, and it was me. And she explains the situation, and he bends down and he tells her daughter. A fun fact, this is the only time that he has actually publicly called someone daughter. So he calls her daughter and says her faith has made her well, that it healed her. So I love that part of the story where he calls her daughter. He's publicly redeeming her years of isolation and pain physically and relationally, and he is publicly redeeming her, publicly saying she's healed, publicly calling her daughter and calling her to himself. And that's what our whole devotional is about. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't going to fix all your problems by the end of the devotion, but it is going to remind you that Jesus meets us in that pain and suffering if we allow it. And I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to turn the screen around and show you how to work through the devotional. All right, ladies, let me show you how to work through the devotional. So once you log into your account, you'll look through your list of products and you're going to look for Healing in the Waiting, a 6-Day Journey with the Bleeding Woman. You're going to click on it and it'll bring you here. Over here on the left are all the lessons. So you work through them one by one. You start at the top, you work your way all the way to the bottom. We're going to start with the welcome letter. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Welcome, hello, sisters. Have you ever sat in a season so long it felt like God forgot your name? Prayers prayed 1,000 times, nights soaked in tears, and days where hope felt just out of reach. That's where the woman in Mark 5 lived for 12 long years. And maybe, in your own way, that's where you've been living too. This devotional, Healing in the Waiting, isn't about quick fixes or tidy answers. It's about meeting Jesus right in the middle of the ache, in the middle of your waiting season. It's about discovering that while the waiting feels endless, you are not unseen. He notices every year, every tear, and every desperate whisper of your heart. So over the next 5 days, you'll step into her story and you'll discover your own. And here's a list of the topics, the titles of the 5 days. So day 6 is like living in the waiting. So how do you take what you've learned from the devotional and move forward and apply it to your life? So that's what day 6 is about. And then starting week of September 8th, which is this week, I'll be sharing these videos with you. So this is your invitation not to rush ahead. Don't rush through this. Take your time and slowly read every devotional. Ask God how you can apply it to your life and to heal those hidden places, those broken areas of your life, those areas where you're crying out for God, for help, and to break through. Maybe you're waiting not for a physical healing. Maybe you are waiting for a physical healing. Maybe your waiting is for a relational healing, or for your children to come back home, or for a financial breakthrough. Let this devotional speak to every area in your waiting season, in that waiting room. So let's begin. At the bottom here, you'll have a button that says complete. Please click that complete button and then click the next arrow button. And this is a Healing in the Waiting PDF. So it's a printable that takes the story of the bleeding woman in Mark 5 and makes it easy to understand the history and the truth, and that sprinkles in some encouragement. It is a PDF, so you can download it to your device and save it somewhere, or you can print it off. Again, at the bottom here, you'll have a button that says complete. Please click that complete button and then click the next arrow button. And then here is a study page all about the bleeding woman and her different stories in the Bible. So this is where she can be found. So you can go there and read it for yourself. Here's some fun facts about her and her struggle. Why touching the hem of his garment, what made her faith different from everyone else that was pressing in and trying to touch Jesus? What made her different? What made her faith different? And then why did Jesus publicly call her out instead of just walking on and keep going on his course? And then some fun facts, because I love to sprinkle in some fun biblical facts. And then some really solid truths that we can take away and apply to our lives in our waiting season. So please take your time and read through this. Take notes in your journal, and then when you're done, at the bottom here, you'll have a button that says complete. Please click that complete button, and then click the next arrow button. Here's a very short video going over her story. After you've done watching it, you can, at the bottom here, you'll have a button that says complete. Please click that complete button, and then click the next arrow button. Here's another video from gotquestions.org explaining her story. After you read it or watch it, there's a button here on your end that says complete. Please click that complete button and then click the next arrow button. And then we will be ready for day 1. And it's the same as before. You read through it. I will add a personal video at the top here for you to watch. So watch that video. Then read through the devotional. And then at the bottom, when you're done, there'll be a button that says complete. Please click that complete button and then click the next arrow button. And then here's another video. This is a worship song for you to listen to. When you're done, you'll have a button here that says complete. Please click that complete button and then click the next arrow, and then we will be on day 2. And again, it's the same thing. Watch the video, read the devotional, and then at the bottom, you'll click the complete button and then the next arrow button, and you'll continue to do that over and over until you get to the very end. So let me turn the screen around real quick. So ladies, that is what the devotional is about and how to work through the devotional. If you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out. You can email me at coffeewithstarla@gmail.com and I will respond as soon as I can. Please take your time in working through devotional, and I pray that it blesses you deeply. Thank you so much for being here with me.